And a happy Monday to you. It is Russell and Hunter's The Brewmance. Thanks for hanging out and while we're chatting and having some fun and doing the things that we always do. Rob's in a foreign nation, so he's drinking because he's in a foreign nation. I drink too every time I'm in a foreign nation.
Might as well. Par for the course up here in Toronto, Canada.
He's trying to stay warm and try to forget that you're in Toronto, Canada. Thanks for hanging out. Go ahead and share this out, will you? Go ahead and like and subscribe, follow along, and do all that as we're building something kind of good here. So hang tight. A lot going on. There is a cleanup mission right now in our State Department as John Kirby has his hands full. The speed and rate at which this guy can dance and deflect and deny and lie is fantastic because he does it very much unlike Karine Jean-Pierre, KJP, because he's actually he can piece together a sentence. He's actually coherent. He sounds intelligent. He sounds studied. But let's see. He's got two things. Let's start with the Russia terror attack. And the Russia terror attack over the weekend, very deadly, and there were groups that were claiming responsibility, and apparently we knew about it all the whole time. We knew it was going to go on because the State Department sent out a memo to all Americans in their embassy over there. It's time to just avoid every single type of gathering you can, stay home, and then, oh my goodness, a terror attack. Wow, they didn't see any of the ones coming on our soil or anything out in Israel and Hamas. Nope, didn't see that coming. Didn't want to warn anybody. But a theater attack is imminent. Let's get on board.
It's a strange story because I haven't heard the term ISIS since Biden's become president, at least. Probably 2 years into the Trump administration, we stopped hearing about ISIS. So let's say it's been 5 years. All of a sudden, ISIS is back. And this story is so fascinating because there are so many different layers and elements to it, of which I believe none, including what the State Department is saying. I have a hard time putting all of these pieces together and seeing how they all fit because there's multiple narratives, not only from the State Department saying, oh, yeah, even though Russians invaded Ukraine, we called them up. We said, hey, guys, Vlad, Bud, I know we're not getting along in this Ukraine thing, but we want to give you a little solid here. ISIS is coming. And then
something's coming. Something's imminent.
Yeah. Then Putin blames Ukraine, says, oh, this is Ukraine's work. And then Ukraine says, no, this is an inside job by Russia. So we have the United States saying it's ISIS. We have Ukraine saying it's Russia. And we have Russia saying it's Ukraine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Parents of three, do you all relate to this? You do. I swear you do, because you go, okay, who did this? Who broke the vase? I want to know who broke the vase, and I want to know now. He did it. No, she did it. He did it. And all three of them are pointing at each other, and you're, okay, everyone's grounded. So how about we do this? How about we ignore Russia, we ignore Ukraine, and we squash what, I guess ISIL is back. Okay, let's go squash them, and then we'll call it good. Who cares about the attack? Fine, good. Okay, your fault and your fault. We're going to now ignore you guys. We're not going to fund you at all. Move along. And I don't care. Make Ukraine part of NATO. Who cares at this point? And we'll go ahead and crush ISIS. That just makes it easy. I fix it all. I'm going to be a great president. Yeah, fantastic.
It's perfect, right? Very decisive. Yeah. Let's just do the thing. Let's just get it done. But I think it brings up this whole idea of information, Mike, where it comes from, how it comes from, because there's a lot of things coming out of Russia about how they basically tortured those guys. There's no basic about it. They put a car battery to one guy's you-know-what, and they turned it on. And they have pictures of it, and they showed the pictures of it. So there was that. And they put all the guys in court, and they all got black eyes, and they're all beaten up and scratched. So Russia's trying to send a message to who? Ukraine? U.S.? ISIS? Who are they sending a message to by beating up these prisoners? Saying, well, the world, we take this seriously. However, there's all kinds of questions about this because some of the way that the shooters handled the weapons, the AK-47s, weren't looking professional. Typically, ISIS sends people in and they've trained them on firearms. Maybe not in this case.
Our firearms.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was only like, what, $8 billion worth of weapons left behind and helicopters. Way more than that. It was, it was like Black Hawk helicopters left in Afghanistan. But it's all very strange, and it just leaves me back to this point, Mike, that I don't trust anybody right now. Literally nobody. Nobody. I don't trust news. I don't trust governments. I trust my man, Mike Russell. That's about it.
It's true, because I'm not part of CIA, as far as you know.
Yeah. Great.
Mhm.
Now I can't trust Mike either.
That's
All
right.
right. More wine
Hey,
for me.
look, Dell brings up a good point. What's happening, everybody? How you doing, VJ? Greg, good to see you. Darren, what's happening? Eddie, cheers. And Dell brings up a fantastic point. Basically, the CIA. Who would be surprised? Tell me if the CIA actually did this. If the CIA funded and backed an attack in a Russian theater and called it a terrorist attack, would anyone, and I mean anyone, globally, would anyone be surprised? No, they wouldn't be surprised one little bit. And by the way, it wouldn't even bother anyone. I mean, we're to the point where the CIA can quite literally get away with anything around the world, and it's just almost assumed. You're not going to go to war with the United States. You're going to war with CIA, and they're going to jack you. Period.
And a lot has changed in the last, since the war on terror. The CIA has so much more autonomy to make decisions about using drones to bomb people than they ever had. Now, typically, that's a military role. Generals, captains, whatever, get to make those calls. The CIA is making a lot of those calls. And their job, right, is to essentially gather intelligence, sow unrest when possible, and, maybe take out a U.S. president back in the 60s. I don't know. It's not an organization that we should trust. And we should have a lot more questions and a lot more answers to those questions than we currently get, which, again, gets back, Mike, to me is I just have a real difficult time trusting any quote unquote official word because it's just clouded in weird secrecy and double moves. And you can't really tell when your government is being honest with you when they've lied to you repeatedly for the last, since 1789.
Yeah, well, okay. Let's talk about people getting lied to for decades at this time. And didn't we stand with Israel? I thought that was kind of our thing. Like here in the United States, we were the first to say, "Hey, us, we dig them. We're all about it, man. Go for it, Israel. Let's go. Hey, Israel, swear the flag. Hey, we designed a nice flag for you. Got some cool design ideas for you guys. We're really happy you're on board." Not anymore. There was a UN resolution, a ceasefire vote that happened, and the United States pulled an Obama. Basically said, "President, here I am. I'm here. Yeah, don't want to get in the middle here. I got future aspirations." And immediately Benjamin Netanyahu pulls any plans for any of his delegation to come to Washington, D.C. Just pull them out. We're done with you guys. If you guys are going to be like this, and the reason why, you can think what you think about Bibi, you really can't. Don't care. Bibi's intelligent, and he knows exactly how this game is played, and he realizes now that the United States abstaining from this vote was politics, and politics only. A Trump administration would have been there in force. A Reagan administration would have, hell, a Clinton administration would have been there in force. Said, "Yep, we back them. That's it. That's no way. We're go war." They would have been all about it.
A few years ago, I've mentioned here before on Russell and Hunter and on the Brewmance, I've got some younger friends around 30. A few years ago, call it 5 or 6 years ago, I was hanging out with them. I was listening to some of their conversations, and it was surprising how anti-Israel they all were. So it got me to thinking, I'm like, okay, here's a group of 25, 24, 26-year-olds having this conversation. And I thought to myself, what a different belief system than the one that we have, in that the United States and Israel are allies. We're two of the world's only democracies. Israel's surrounded by countries that don't think Israel should exist, so they're constantly on guard. That belief has changed, and it ties into the beliefs about America. And it ties into how younger people have been taught different things about America than we have. So they have a different belief system, not just about the U.S., but about the entire world. Even here in Toronto, where I'm at, Prime Minister Trudeau was at the Toronto Convention Center, where I just happened to be. My wife, Lady Brewmance, was giving a speech there to a conference. And Trudeau's on the other side, on the north side of the building, and there was a bunch of Free Palestine protesters out, young Canadians, voicing their displeasure at Trudeau, Israel. So this is what Mike's point is, right? Is that Biden knows he needs young voters to beat Trump. The only way he beats Trump is if young voters show up. So this present vote is specifically designed to take younger people, some of whom I know, to go to the polls in November and vote Biden. So think about that on a fundamental level here. We're talking about war, people dying, an invasion of a Gaza Strip. And all the Biden administration can do is vote present so that they can win an election. And then it sparked this fight that 7-year-olds would have. I'm taking my toys and I'm going home, and you stay by the playground by yourself. Again, this is war. In the United States, in Israel, portions of the Israeli government, Netanyahu, in some cases, there's people, are just doing that. Well, I'm taking my ball and I'm going home. Then hell with you. Like, we're 7.
I'll give the Bibi administration a hell of a lot more credit than I will the Biden administration. They're in a damn war. And they're like, okay, if our biggest ally, the basically the big kid on the block, the big kid on the playground, which stood by us, and as we stand by Israel, our little bro, our big bro here, just turned his back on us. Hell yeah, I'm pulling it. No delegation going to DC. Get back here. And most likely the press here is making a bigger deal about it than it is, because he's like, okay, fine, I don't give a rat's, whatever. We got a war to fight. We're in the middle of something here. They're in the middle of an election. We're in the middle of a war. There's two very different things going on here. One is very bloody and deadly. The other one is just is petulant and crappy. So I'm actually on Bibi's side here, saying like, good for you. That's a good point. Good. Tell them something. Show them something. Because John Kirby says that they're canceling the DC delegation visit. He said they were so perplexed. They just didn't know. Why? I don't understand, because I think the quote was they were keeping their abstaining from the vote was keeping what it says, keeping with national security concerns of the Israeli people. So how exactly were you going to vote? You not showing up and you abstaining, was that was the move to help Israel? That's not a good look at all. That's not a good. If I'm Bibi, I won't even take Biden's call.
Well, this is. It's the political realities in which we live in, is that, again, we have another sign that all that matters to American politics is winning. Doesn't matter what's right, doesn't matter what's wrong. It's looking at polls and saying, a pretty good portion of our base that is below 30 or below 35 might not show up. Like they didn't show up in the Michigan primary. How many people voted no? I forget what the actual term was.
Yeah, it was something. Yeah.
But Biden was unopposed except for uncommitted or something like that. I don't remember the percentage, like 19% of people showed up as uncommitted in an unchallenged Democrat primary. That's why you're seeing all these reactions by Democrats, because they're freaking out because they might help Trump win a second term if the young voters don't show up. But also, Mike, the other side of this is this weird soft position not backing Israel might also help Trump win the election.
Right. And I did they huddle up? This was blowing my mind. One of the big Democrat foundations is the Jewish community. Jewish community is overwhelmingly voted Democrat. Did they huddle them up and say, "Hey, is it cool? We're going to talk about this whole we're going to back Palestine on this one. We're going to kind of speak out against Israel if that's you guys still voting for us, all right?" Did they do? Or are they just that stupid? I mean, I can't even think of something this dumb. But I mean, I guess okay, maybe the numbers are the numbers. Maybe the younger generation is a voting bloc that they need more, and they just think that the Jewish community is in their corner. I don't think that's the case. I don't think there is any person that identifies very very passionately and very proudly to be part of the Jewish community and will look at what the Biden administration is doing and say that's right. What they're doing is right. What they're doing is correct. I can't get my head around it.
But people don't change. And this is the big part. In fact, part of my wife's presentation today is about change. And she said, if you took 7 people, brought them to a doctor, and all 7 people were told, if you do not change your lifestyle, you will die, only one of them will actually change their behavior. So under threat of death, people still don't change. So the Democrats are banking on people not changing, especially the Jewish vote, and saying, they're not going to abandon us. They're not going to abandon us. But it's a tricky part. Like we talked about this last week, how really America right now is like a parliamentary system. There are 4 different factions split between two parties. There is the anti-Israel, don't really like America, younger portion of the Democrat Party. And then there's the traditional Democrats, like Mike, you were just talking about, the Jewish Democrats that have been voting Democrat for a very long time. On the Republican side, we know we got the Trump wing and we got the not-so-Trump wing. So there are four systems that in order to win the election, you have to appeal to both. And it's a tricky balance. We talk about this with the Trump team all the time, is that I know several people that just won't vote for Donald Trump unless something tremendous happens. Unless someone from the Trump team, Trump himself, whatever, is able to influence people to say, wow, I have no choice but to vote for Trump because Biden is that bad or Trump's policies are that good, whatever the case may be. And this is my argument about at least my strategy, because I always think of winning. I think of strategy. I don't care right and wrong. I don't care about any of that. Strategy should be to win, because you can have the greatest policies in the world, but if you can't win elections, those policies are moot. They don't do anything. So in order to try to appeal to both sides of each party, it's very delicate. Because let's use the Republican side, right? The Trump side. So you get the Trump fans who are going to vote for Trump all day, every day. And that's fine. But then there's some people that aren't sure. So how do you stay true to your Trump message and still appeal to a broader audience? Because that's what Biden is trying to do in the Biden team, is they're trying to say, okay, what can we do now, knowing that the election is in November? So if we vote present now, will this hurt us in November? Their gamble is obviously not. And their hope is that it signals to young people that they can still vote for old man Biden. It's all strategy.
Exactly my point. There's a real war. There's real people getting shot, real people dying, real people having a hard time finding bread at this point. And the United States just wants to stay out of it for one reason and one reason alone. That's optics and electoral politics.
Mm-hmm.
It's frightening at this point. If I were Israel, what's that?
I'm going to pour some more wine because of that.
Oh,
no.
Man. I might next time we start chatting about something, I'm going to go grab myself an NA. I'm going to get really big with you here, buddy. Start drinking some NA beer with you.
Oh, getting crazy.
This is if I were Israel, I would now understand where we are in our relationship as partners, as allies. And we're not where we were a year ago at all. And it has to be so like just a solid punch in the gut for Benjamin Netanyahu and all of Israel, all of the Israelis, to think, okay, our big bro, the United States, the one we stand with, they stand with us. You gotta understand, they are basically the beacon of light surrounded by a bunch of just garbage that wants to kill the rest of the world. They are the United States of the Middle East. They are us. They're our people. And we just said, yeah, you're on your own. We got an election over here we got to take care of. Well, but don't worry, we love it. We'll love to host your people when they come to your delegation. Oh man, state dinner. It's going to be a great time. We have something really exciting planned for us. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a ton of fun. No, they now know where they are in this relationship, and this relationship's pretty much over. There's going to need some serious couples therapy after this war's over. And say that seriously. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of splaining to do.
No, and there's no doubt about that, but. That's the tricky thing about politics is Israel gets a lot of money from you, taxpayer money, for all kinds of various reasons. So as long as that money's flowing, the relationship at least has a solid foundation. Now, this Netanyahu knows is politics, but now the question becomes this. Let's go back to the Democrats who vote, or the Jewish people who vote Democrat. This is really up to y'all. Because if you want to send a message that either the country you're from, your family's from, should be basically the same as the United States, as allies, as partners, you know what to do. And if you don't care, okay, cool. If you want to play the appeasement game that Biden is, and look, I can understand Netanyahu, just like any president or prime minister, is not above criticism. You can make the case that some of the decisions he's making in this war are not good. They're not good for the people of Gaza. They're not good for the people of Israel, the soldiers that have to go fight these street battles. They're nasty. If you ever talk to an American soldier who fought, say, in Fallujah, in Iraq, they come back different people, scarred for life. So that is a consequence of some of these decisions. Women and children are being killed. So it's not as if this war is going perfectly for Netanyahu. So that's where you, in my opinion, that's where you criticize Netanyahu. You say, yeah, all right, fine. Keep your war going. But at the same time, maybe not kill as many women and children in Gaza. And I know that Hamas uses them as shields, but because you know that, you have to approach it a different way. But this is why I don't lead countries, because these are tough decisions. And it's a very difficult place to get attacked as the way Israel did and respond softly, because then it might send Hamas the message that, oh, we just do it again. Instead of saying, nope, I don't care what it costs. I will wipe out Hamas, which is Netanyahu's strategy. Which
and by the way, that's our way. How can we knock them for that's our way? Do you remember shock and awe? Did we say only men can come out to the streets and get bombed? Men, women and children, go ahead and protect yourselves. We'll give you 48 hours. No, we turned the place into a parking lot. We didn't care about that. Now we're going to expect Bibi to? No. And by the way, Netanyahu doesn't. The Israeli people do not expect them to. So it's a little disingenuous to hear the United States wagging a finger at him, going all Jan Brewer on the tarmac on him, because they're killing women and children. Please, it's not even. This is just. I hope we the people get to see. I keep saying I'm holding out hope that we see how damn childish this is. They're not. Netanyahu is playing a grown-up game, and Biden is playing like a petulant little political child. Period.
Yeah, and I think that for me, this is a further realization of, and it goes to VJ's point in the comments. If you're watching on Facebook, VJ is saying that we just need better people in these places. So she's even going back to the CIA discussion we had a few minutes ago, is that it'd be good to have honest people in the CIA, in the FBI, in our police agencies, in our governments, but they're all geared towards one thing and one thing only, and that's winning. So the bottom line is this. Regardless of the criticisms and whether I would fight the war, Netanyahu would, or Mike would, it's Netanyahu's decision. The people of Israel elected him in that position, and they get to make that decision. The same thing that we get to do here. Our role is vote and try to influence people who may vote different than you, that your side is the better side for the future of that person you're talking to, their family, their kids, and the future of the country. Because that's our collective role here, is to understand this criticism and understand that there's a lot of things that we don't like going on across all levels of government. But you got to get the right people in place to be able to put the right people in place. That's what matters.
I'll stay on that point, and I'm not disagreeing with Robin, and definitely not disagreeing with you, VJ. Who gets to decide who the good people are and the bad people are in the CIA and the FBI? Because if you're going to task the CIA with weeding out their bad apples, they're going to weed out the ones that actually support and back the Constitution of the United States of America and actually abide by rules of engagement anywhere. Those guys, those guys are bad. We're doing good. We see we're breaking the rules. Yes, we break the rules, but here's the deal: we're doing it for the greater good. I'm one of the good guys. No, you aren't. So it has to be a wholesale clean house, done. Drain the whole thing to make it happen. And Greg, I think I see what you're getting at here too when you say that, because Benjamin Netanyahu did love him some Donald Trump. And that might be exactly what could play into this too, because he's not a fan of Biden. He's a huge fan of Donald Trump. And that might be playing even more, proving the point that the Biden administration is they're not doing the right thing.
They're playing a game of survival. They're just hanging on like, oh my goodness, my approval rating's 38% consistently. I might be able to eke out this election. And this is what's interesting too. This is a side note, Mike. We didn't really plan on this, but we've talked a lot about if and when and how the Democrats are going to replace Biden. This is indicative to me that Biden's not going anywhere. And I was the first one to say they're going to bounce him out because his approval rating's so horrible. But Team Biden thinks he can win. Biden himself thinks he can win. And you're making these moves in their strategy to try and do just that. And it's so obvious to me that I wish people would just open their eyes and their ears and go, this is all nonsense. And I think for the most part, we all understand that. Most people in politics understand that. However, it's just we don't want to do anything about it. We don't want to change the way we vote. We don't want to talk to anybody about it. So we just go along with the system. We're like, Biden, fine.
that is actually live from the polls. Biden.
80 million people across America, Biden.
Yeah. 80 million people. Here we go again. Holy mackerel. Let's get to actually his competition on the Republican side. That is one Donald John Trump with a big giant. Told you, ladies, we'd get to it. We were being reminded by Lynn and Ron. It's time to talk about Donald Trump. Big day for Donald Trump. Donald Trump had his bond about cut in half, the insurmountable bond of 300 and bazillion. I think they said 1 trillion gazillion simoleons is what they came up with. They went straight cartoon Bugs Bunny with it because it's just stupid. So the appellate court said, you know what? Come on. The guy can probably afford this. So let's go with the 170 something and change million. And that's, by the way, him to put forward just so he can appeal these decisions and these rulings. This takes Letitia James and just smacks her across the face with a big bag full of money, because Donald Trump today was asked how he's going to pay for this 170 million. He goes, cash, and walked away. And that is just as mic drop G moment as I could possibly imagine. Now, again, you watch Biden going up the little training wheel steps of Air Force One. and then you see in the same thing, Donald Trump saying, I'm going to pay cash. Who do you want to lead the country? That's what I'd say.
Yeah, well, and this is fascinating because there was an analysis I read this week about how the media, the mainstream media, and the mainstream media is barely a term anymore in like terms of numbers. It's just a traditional old school media, the television media, the CNNs, MSNBCs, NBC News. Not that many people watch them, but they're state-run media at this point, right? All in the tank for one side. We all get that. But that's where it might backfire, because this analysis talked about 2016 and how the media just couldn't stop talking about Donald Trump because they thought by constantly talking about Donald Trump, people would be like, oh my God, this guy's crazy. Because again, you have to think about the media circles. New York City. New York City is a fabulous place. But in the upper echelons of high society in New York, where the media really wants to be, like Don Lemon wants to be in New York high society, because that's when you've made it in New York high society, you've made it everywhere, baby. So he'll say whatever he can to get inside there. So it's all geared towards, how do people not see how crazy Donald Trump is? No, because we see how obnoxiously condescending you guys are in high society, and we rebel against that. So the same thing that happened in 2016, this columnist warned, could happen again in 2024. And it's going to be because of the media and because of Biden. And they talked about Biden and something he said about Trump recently. And it was like, these are the types of things that Trump was able to capitalize on 2016. Because you're not talking about your vision for the country as Democrats, as Biden. The media is not talking about the future of America. They're just busy calling Donald Trump a dictator, and this is going to be the court case that's going to get him that $400 million, which is now down to $170 million. Mm-hmm. So you see what happens, right? Mike, you say it so brilliantly all the time. The Democrats, I'll add in the media, always overplay their hands because they think they're smarter than you. They think you'll just do what they say, and all they have to do is open their smart, Harvard-educated, Yale-educated mouths, and you'll go, oh. But the reality is, a vote for Trump is a rebellion against them, against high society, against condescending snobs that sit in the offices and media centers in New York City.
But understand, his advertising budget is the same as the last time around. Nothing. He doesn't have to pay a dime. Because here he is. He has this win, and if paying $170 million for something that is totally stupid, thinking that Mar-a-Lago is worth $18 million, is
it's worth 18 million. Put me in, Mike. Let's go in on it, baby.
Seriously, I mean, right now, I will find the money by hook or crook. It will be, and we'll turn that thing for a $200 million profit, and you won't see Russell and Hunter again. Sorry,
nope.
We love you all, but we gone. Yeah,
nope.
I have too many hunting ranches to visit. So, and Rob's got too many, I don't know, Parthenons or whatever the heck he wants to go see, all these different things. Yeah.
All the things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the things. So he has a literal budget of nothing because he doesn't have to. So he gets rid of this case. This is a win. Cut in half this bond. He's going to pay cash for it like a G. And then he's going to go to this really weak case about this hush money with Stormy Daniels, who just happens to be getting appearances on Good Morning America and The View. Oh, surprising, because that's the next trial coming up. So Trump, of course, he doesn't even have to go. He's going to show up just for funsies because he knows that all of the media will be there. They will be everyone talking about Trump. Trump's going to win. Trump, this is all a witch hunt, greatest witch hunt in history. Trump witch hunt. And that is going to be another month-long free advertising campaign for him.
What is Trump? His only goal, it seems, in life is to be talked about. And the media, who hates him, can't stop talking about him. That's the funny thing about it. Because I think Trump's already achieved his goal, because Trump is going to be talked about for centuries. He's going to be talked about in the lore of American history. Like 100 years from now, they're going to be talking about Trump. 200 years from now, they're going to be like, oh yeah, that was that guy. He was the business guy, the real estate guy, and he ended up becoming president of the United States. Trump is lasting through history. And that's what the media can't stand, because they tried to shut it down because they wanted the first female president ever to be elected. But they force that issue so much and cannot learn the lessons of their own follies. That's what's great. And that tells you all about the mainstream media that you need. They're so knuckleheaded, they can't actually look at their own past and go, maybe we should do it differently now. Because what's going to happen in November, if Trump wins and they're going to go all apoplectic, is be like, it's your fault because you couldn't stop talking about him. And you, to Mike's point, gave him billions of dollars of free advertising.
Yeah, he doesn't have to touch a thing. And he keeps. And by the way, and this might be another thing, going back to the point that was made about, I think it was Greg's point that was made about Benjamin Netanyahu loving Trump, which probably makes Biden hate him even more. How about this, Rob? What was the group of? What was the profession of the group that showed up to the Oval Office days after he took over to help him out with something? Do you remember this?
You talking about Biden?
Biden, yes. Group of presidential
historians,
to talk about and establish what his legacy will be. Donald Trump already has that. For the love of grief, it's going to be a bedazzled Trump wall down on the southern border. It's going to be there for decades and decades. Everything is a Trump legacy. The Trump brand, thanks to the Trump kids, is never going to go away. It is, the name Trump is part of American history, a large part of American history after Daddy becoming the president of the United States, and is going to continue to be. And that has to drive Biden absolutely bonkers, knowing that people will remember Trump over Biden every day of the week for the next bazillion weeks.
And what's so also interesting about this, and again, I've got my issues with Trump, I got my issues with Biden, I got issues with everybody, right? But what's so fascinating about Biden is his ego. So everybody talks about Trump, he's got a big ego. Biden's got the same ego. Biden has literally convinced himself he's the only person on the planet that can beat Donald Trump in an election. Not any other Democrat. There's 180 million Democrats. Not one of them can beat Trump except you. So when it comes to egos too, we also don't talk about him equally, because Biden in his whole life, if you look at Biden's career, has wanted to be Trump. Has always tried to say outrageous things so he got media coverage. He said racist things in the 90s about inner cities and violence and midnight basketball and not raping his mother and his daughter. About, talking about black people, brown people. Literally said all those things. But he's not as good as Trump. He's not as popular as Trump. His message doesn't resonate as much as Trump, but his ego's the same. And look, you want to talk about egos? Obviously, Trump has one. I have one. Mike has one. You have one. Whatever. We all have one. Biden does too. And Biden always came across to me as a condescending jerk. Not, oh, he's middle-class Joe. He's a nice guy. No, he just knows how to turn it on when he wants to turn it on because he's a politician. So that's the other unfairness of this, is that if you're running for president, y'all got the same ego. George Washington had the ego, although he knew how to temper his, because he didn't want to be king, because he didn't want to be buried under the Capitol. Thomas Jefferson had one. John Adams certainly had one. Donald Trump has one. So does Biden. So we're going to talk about egos and boasting. The Biden State of the Union speech was basically a Trump speech. It was all him boasting about how great he was. Obviously, he's not.
No, Daniel says 52 intelligence officers said Biden never said all that. That's fantastic. Yes, and it would be former, by the way, Daniel. Yes, it'd be former. Just it's all Russian disinformation. It's got all the hallmarks.
Fake.
What's happening, Robin from North Idaho? Thanks for hanging out with us. Yes, I did. I got a lot to talk about with Idaho. You guys are making some silly. No, you had a weird federal ruling in Idaho. We'll get to. We'll probably flesh that out tomorrow, but just keep an eye on that. And yes, Greg, I think that Biden's still going to be out. I don't think he's going to be the dude, but I think Rob and I differ on this one. Rob thinks he's kind of in. It might be the convention. I think it's going to be May, but that's just us. Pontificating, checking things out. Just kind of.
If the polls consistently, as we get closer to the election and the convention, if the polls consistently show Biden getting his clock cleaned, they might pull the emergency hatch. I'm sure they have a plan just in case. Just like we have, Pentagon has war plans to invade Turkey. We're not going to invade Turkey, but just in case, we got a war plan. You got to be, you got to be ready just in case. It's the same thing. The Democrats have a plan. Like, okay, if we got to get rid of Biden or something happens to him. Oh, man, if something comes out about his health, what's the emergency hatch trigger? Gavin Newsom.
No,
we can do it at the convention. Yeah.
All they say is, hey, Hillary, Bill, you remember those top secret documents that Biden had? They were all about the two of you. And he goes away. I'm just saying, some people have been known to not be around after having some juice on the Clintons. Just saying. Mm-hmm. Now, Andrew Huberman, help me out, Rob.
Yeah, I think it's Huberman.
Huberman. Tee this up, because if you're drinking, I'm going to drink at least non-alcoholics. Hang tight. I'm walking off set right now. I'm going over here. I'll be right back.
Mike's going to go be his independent guy. Well, the reason we're bringing this up is this is indicative of our media takedown culture. It works in politics, but it works everywhere. So Dr. Andrew Huberman is one of the most renowned neurologist, I think. I don't know what his official title is, but he knows the brain better than everybody. He's got a huge podcast. He's had huge guests on. He does all kinds of research at Stanford. Well, there's a magazine, the New York Magazine, just came out with a hit piece on this guy, because this is what we do in America. Somebody gets popular, we must say, people are speaking nicely about someone. We have to find something to tear him down. So what they did, New York Magazine, as they found an ex-girlfriend of Andrew Huberman, and it turns out he has many girlfriends. Wow. A popular guy who's good-looking, who's in shape, who's famous, has multiple girlfriends. Yeah. What a shocking incident. But see, this is what they always try to do. And this is that thing you got to be aware of. It's all garbage. It's all gossip. It's all nonsense. Just to say, see, that guy you trust for your brain health is a womanizer.
Yeah, this is the same thing. So CNN is claiming that Biden's campaign and the DNC have a dedicated team of staffers and consultants to try to diminish RFK Jr. So why would we be surprised where just anyone coming up and show success and maybe he votes for Donald Trump? Oh my goodness. I saw him in a MAGA hat. He must be destroyed. Take him out. What do we got on him, guys? Anybody? All right, let's get everybody together here. What do we got on him? Come on. Give me the good stuff. Give me the good juice. What do you got? Sir, he has multiple girlfriends.
Every man.
I run with it. I don't.
What a horrible guy.
Oh, horrible human being. Mm-hmm.
He's not married. Look, if he's married, fine, different story. Even still, it's life.
DNC. Let's talk about Bill Clinton. With the multiple rape accusations against Joe Biden. How about let's look into Senator Menendez? For the love of grief, people. All right. Once again, if you have a finger pointing at somebody, you got three pointing back at you.
Always. It's just another reminder to be above all that. Even going back to the Israel-Biden fight. We don't have to be children and try to tear each other down. You could be popular and flawed. All of us are flawed. None of us are perfect. And to judge ourselves against perfect standards is just stupid. But it gives us, now I don't have to listen to Andrew Huberman anymore because he had 6 girlfriends or 8 girlfriends. What? He did? Makes me want to listen to him more. Because that's that other point about Trump. This is something you have to understand. Controversy creates attention. So when you're trying to manufacture controversy, it sometimes brings more attention to the thing you don't want anyone to have attention to. Donald Trump's a perfect example of that. Because if you lined up the 98 candidates that ran in 2015 and 2016, the Republican Party, no one was like, Trump's going to win. Very few people were like, oh, from the very beginning, Trump's going to win the nomination. He's going to be the president of the United States. A couple of us predicted Trump would win. Mike and I are amongst that very small group that knew that he would win. But it all goes back to that attention. They tried to say, this guy is so controversial. Same thing with Andrew Huberman. He's Stanford. He's so smart. He's so intelligent. He has a great podcast, but he's a schemer in the background. But it only draws more attention to Andrew Huberman or Donald Trump or whoever. So that's why guys like Donald Trump said all those outrageous things in the 80s and 90s, because it got attention. And it worked.
And you know, the headline to that had to have been something to the effect of the reason Andrew Huberman, whatever, will not be a household name in 2 months. And so you dig through the article because you click on it. So you've clicked on it. That is the goal accomplished by those that wrote it, the New York Magazine. So is it New Yorker or New York? Just New York Magazine?
The New York Magazine in their intelligencer section.
Anyway,
here's the
okay.
Andrew Huberman's mechanisms of control, the private and public seductions of the world's biggest pop neuroscientist.
And then all you see is you look into it and you're like, hey, wait a second. The guy's like, he's got a few girlfriends, so he dates around?
Yeah.
Why did I read this? I want my 10 minutes back of life, please.
And this is a 20-minute article. This is a long article that I read today.
Okay. So think about this. I've been watching March Madness. My son was with me for the weekend. I've been watching the game. The kid, seriously, only 2 games off in the first round. The kid crushed it. Yeah, but then it all fell apart after that. But still, anyway. I saw a commercial with Charles Barkley and Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson is a beloved personality. He is a national treasure. Everybody loves Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson didn't have 6 girlfriends when he was married. He had 6 girlfriends a night when he was married. And by the way, that's documented. I'm not making a joke about that. He said, I went up to 6 women a night. Okay. And everybody loves some Magic Johnson, and he's pitching some sandwich or some stupid stuff, whatever it is. The face of the Dodgers. And I mean, everybody loves him. So this attack piece it's an attack headline. And it's assuming that you and I and we the people are stupid and we're not going to read past the headlines, which I know that all of you do. We read past the headlines. Really, that's it? That's what you came up with? Because on the same commercial, he was with Charles Barkley, who told the cop when he pulled him over for extreme DUI, told the cop that he was going on his way to get the world's best you-know-what, oral copulation from a woman. Thank you very much. I use multisyllabic words every now and again.
Something Andrew Huberman obviously likes as well.
And he said to the cop, I will get your name tattooed on my butt if you let me go. So that is salacious and what the? And he's in there pitching sandwiches and he's on, the March Madness. Magic Johnson, same thing. We don't care as a we the people. We do not care. It's boneheads like the New York Magazine that think that, we're going to read that headline and we're going to move on from a guy that you're intimidated by. Dude, kick rocks.
Well, and that goes into this whole condescension that I really think the Trump movement is about. Because actually, this is funny, Mike. You'll get a kick out of this. So I was walking by, I'm in Toronto, in case you're just joining us. My wife gave a speech at a conference, and Prime Minister Trudeau was at the convention center. So we leave the convention center, we walk back to the hotel, and there's a bunch of protesters out there. But there were signs up that tied Trudeau to George Soros, to Bill Gates, and who's that dude that runs the World Economic Forum? Klaus, whatever his name is.
Klaus von Bonvillain.
Yeah, that guy, yes. Klaus Bonvillain. Exactly. Yeah. So I'm like, see, these are probably left-wing Canadians that we have some agreements with, because I don't like the New World Order either. And they talked about the Agenda 2020, whatever the one it is, and the energy and all these things on this side. So in thinking about that, there is a rebellion of sorts against these so-called smart people like Bill Gates who try to tell you how to live your life, because it's the same people in the media that write these articles as if we should judge someone by perfect moral standards. Like, we're going to take Jesus and we're saying, all right, Jesus is the model and everybody's judged against Jesus. Okay, automatically we all fail. Okay, good. Most of us understand that. Most of us understand that, like, for a guy like Andrew Huberman, he's famous. Again, he's good looking. He's in shape. Women want to be with him, guys want to be like him kind of guy.
Just think when if you know what I'm talking about, just think me. You know, I mean, it's just a guy. Exactly. We could be twins. We could be twins.
His beard's a little longer, but yeah, you could definitely be twins.
Totally be twins. I mean, if you think about twins like Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger in the movie, yes, we could totally be twins.
Yeah. But then there's real life. Most of us have actually lived real life, not this moral judgment life where we cast doubt upon everyone who disagrees with us. We're like, oh, okay, he's famous. He has 6 girlfriends. I'm like, yeah, okay. If I was famous, I might have 6 girlfriends. I mean, I'm not saying me. I'm just saying if I were Andrew Huberman, I might have 6 girlfriends. I'm not married. I'm not tied down. Why not?
He's a good-looking guy. I just saw. I didn't really know a lot about him. So those images. Wow. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
A guy like that with success and some fame. Guess what? It's gonna get the ladies.
Yeah, it's real life.
Yeah.
Most of us live in the real world, not this obnoxious high tower. Cast doubt upon thee, who isn't as smart as me, because I went to Yale.
And how dare NBC, the National Broadcasting Corporation, how dare they hire Ronna McDaniel, the former head of the RNC, has been hired by NBC, and the rest of the media, including NBC affiliates, has gone completely apoplectic. It is a joy to watch, and I can't stand Ronna McDaniel. I can't handle her. She's a bozo that absolutely ruined the easiest chip shot of an election we could have possibly had. It was teed up for the Republicans, and she blew it. Choked in the open net, as they say on Wayne and Garth. Ooh. I'm telling you, right? That she did. And now NBC hired her, and the rest, instead of the rest of the media just going, they brought her in. That's funny. NBC's ratings are going to be terrible, which they are. But instead of just going that route and laughing it off, they are clutching their pearls. I think Joe Scarborough said, I truly hope NBC reconsiders their actions. Yeah, Joe, they're waiting for you to tell them what to do, bud.
This is that whole point. I like dissent, disagreement. I seek it out on my solo project. Mike's got his Go Show. I've got Equal Matters. I went into Maryvale and Glendale in Phoenix, which is, the poorest section of the state, basically. And I'm like, all right, let's find out about people. Let's talk to a progressive lawmaker, Annalise Ortiz. I like her a lot. I can't lie. Would I vote for her? Probably not. But I like her. She's got some good points. She's got some good policies, ideas that are different than me, but at least she's willing to talk to me about it, right? This is what dictatorships are. Dictatorships, think of a guy like Vladimir Putin. Think of a guy like Joseph Stalin. Think of Kim Jong-un in North Korea. All they do is eliminate any opposition. So if you are a person that refuses to deal with opposition, you're basically Joseph Stalin, is what I'm saying.
Okay. Yes.
I'm being facetious, but you get my point. The point is, oh my God, another different point of view is going to be on MSNBC. Okay. And it was not even on MSNBC. She was initially, at first I saw it, was McDaniel was going to be hired by MSNBC.
No.
Then it was, no. It's only NBC. We separated the two. Oh, okay. Thanks for the clarification, because you have a bunch of wimps that cannot handle a different opinion. That's really the challenge of America, is a bunch of wimps.
If I'm running MSNBC, and I'm way too intelligent to do so, but if I'm running MSNBC, I would hire her in a heartbeat. She should be lifted up as a hero to the progressive left. She saved them. She saved their bacon. They had the worst track record ever and the worst president in the history of this country, and they still didn't get their tuchus kicked because of this bonehead. I was like, yay, all hail, Ron. What? I'm going to call her Ronald McDonald from here. I don't care.
I love it. Go for it. By the way, go back to the author who wrote the article about Andrew Huberman, the takedown piece. Graduated from Georgetown University. That's definitely part of the elite club.
Yeah. Yeah. When you're the college you went to, your alma mater is your identity. Yeah. You're not voting for Trump. Unless it's Bama, baby. Woo! Roll Tide.
By the way, Daniel, I don't appreciate your tone.
Daniel,
man.
I love it. I love it.
Man, what is this? I worked full time for 45 years. Well, let's see, 16.
Rob has more jobs. Rob's like a Jamaican, man.
It's
Rob's
true.
got Debbie 12 things. Oh man, yeah. Rob has a lot of jobs. Rob does work full time. Yeah,
I work.
That was actually awesome. That was
Yeah,
funny.
it was
What
good.
Daniel
Yeah.
said, if you this says Rob, you need to work full time to afford 6 girlfriends. Yes.
Trust me, I have one wife, and my wife is plenty. Let's just say that. She is all I could have asked for. I'll say it in a nice way, of course. But, that's a full-time job in and of itself. Just saying. Ain't nobody got time for that. And the crowd goes silent.
Exactly. I was like, he's in a hotel room right now. I don't know. No.
I'll tell you this. Back, as I was before I met Amy, I was dating off and on 3 different girls, and it was way too hard. It was very challenging to keep up with schedules and try to hang out with your friends. So I was like, I'm just going to pick the right one and stick to that. So far, so good.
I was dating 3 women off and on. Yeah,
you're young. You're 19. You think you're cool. It wasn't cool.
Okay. Yeah, it's just a pain in
me and
especially around the holidays. You're like, I don't know what to do with myself. I definitely can't afford this.
And I was going to say, it didn't last long. It was like a summer. It's like 3 months. It wasn't a big deal.
The summer of love.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, ladies? No. Because I'm so smooth, everybody. Very smooth.
Right. Yeah. Rob's got, yeah. Yeah. So Del wanted to know what I was drinking. I'm actually drinking hop tea. I'm actually this is non-alcoholic, but it's actually pretty fantastic. If you like iced tea, this is iced tea brewed with hops. It's an iced tea IPA, really, is what it is. It's absolutely fantastic. They have 3 versions of it. I love it. It's just a good.
What will they think of next? Who makes it?
Tripping out. I was driving and I had one. I just took it out there with me. I just put it in the truck. I felt like I was drinking an IPA driving truck. This is the weirdest thing. I was like, this is absolutely a trip. This is not. There's 0 alcohol, 0 calories, and I was like, wow, this is not okay.
And the question is, Del, what are you drinking? Because I did see your comment earlier that he wasn't going to wait till 5, but since I started at 4. Although I'm on the East Coast time, so I'm at 7. So
No, you started what 1 our time.
Actually, I started at 9 a.m. your time. I had a cocktail at lunch. I had a nice. It was a vodka limoncello cocktail. It looked interesting. It was too interesting to pass up. It was very tasty. But that was the only one I had until I had my wine.
I don't. Sometimes I just and this is the redneck in me. And again, Rob and I have been friends 16 years, and this is who we are. When Rob orders his little vodka martini, lemangelo, lemon squishy thing, and drinks it with the pinky up.
Oh yeah, every time
he does. I ain't playing. I'm not even making fun of the guy. He truly does.
I'm one of those people. No,
my question is, he's saying like, okay, so with the vodka and the this and the vermouth and the this, and I'm like, what do you got on tap? That's really what IPAs you got on tap? That's the redneck he's been hanging out with for. So I always make fun of him for his drink.
They did actually. You'll be proud of me though. So yesterday we decided to drive from Toronto to Niagara Falls, about an hour and 20-minute drive. I had my selection of vehicles to pick. Dodge Ram, baby. I drove a pickup truck through. It was awesome. I loved it. I was like, I could drive a truck. Mike Russell will be so proud of me right now.
I am. I have that visual. You did that one promo with the F-150 a hot minute ago.
Oh, that was
so you drove to Vegas in one, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
No.
And you went to see George Strait. I'm like, I have finally won him over. He is a redneck like me.
You'll love this. On the way back, country music playlist the whole way, hour and 20 minutes.
If Beyonce was a part of it, it doesn't count.
If who?
If Beyonce was part of it, it doesn't count.
No, we didn't put Beyonce in there.
She has a country song.
I heard it.
Okay, all right. And it's do you know what it is? Dude, check it out. If you look up the Canadian, you're up in Canada, they'll know. The cartoon turtle, Franklin. It's the theme song.
Really?
Not kidding. Da-na-da-na. Yep.
Wow.
And that's the only reason I know the song, because I wanted to prove that. I was so excited to prove that. I was like, yes. Of course, the internet gave it to me, and I went and did the research. And yeah, it's pretty much the same thing.
Beyonce had an album, I think, in 2016. She had a country riff on. It's pretty good. I forget the name. Really? Yeah, it's pretty. It was like not that like cheesy country. It was like almost old school country kind of feel. It was cool.
Check us out. My son was staying with me. He goes, Dad, there's a Blake Shelton concert tomorrow, and my friends got tickets, and they got an extra one for me. If you can help me out with that, I'd be, not any, like I need to borrow money, nothing. It was just, Uncle Rob knows John, and so I forgot. I'm like, yeah, we'll talk about it, whatever. He's like, I don't even like Blake Shelton, but I just want to go with friends and stuff.
Yeah, gotta hang out.
Next morning, I get a text from him that just says, Dad, the concert is tomorrow. So like, and no, it's tomorrow. I'm like, can you give me a time, place, and some the financial commitment that we're looking at here?
Somewhere in this 24-hour window right here.
Oh my gosh.
Teenagers.
He went and saw Blake Shelton because I'm dad and I buckle. But I made him work an entire day at the Game and Fish Expo. So
nice.
he worked well. He was on it. He did a great job. He didn't complain at all. He did a fantastic job. But he was like, oh, Dad, I got a lot of Blake Shelton songs on my playlist now. It's like, if you try something before you just bag on it, you might like it. You just might like it.
Well, I remember way back in the day, Mike, when we first started hanging out, when we first meeting, I think I said something to the effect, I don't listen to white people music. And I was being ridiculous.
You did say that word.
I did say it.
You did say it.
But I mostly listen to hip hop music. By the way, Toronto is a fascinating place because I have a sweatshirt that says Illmatic on it, which is a Nas album. Came out in 94. And people in Toronto recognize it. They're like, oh, that Nas is my guy. Good job. Oh, yeah, that's great. So side note, Toronto's a hip hop town. Secondary is in trying country music, you're like, you find something you like. If you listen to something enough, you'll like some of it, maybe not all of it. I mean, my mom's chiming in, doesn't like the Beyonce song. I get it. Said it's awful. That's fine. What's up, Ma? But I really like Sam Hunt because he's got that kind of hip hop flow. And I'm like, all right. So I heard some Sam Hunt, and I heard several of our old Russell and Hunter bump music songs like Dust in the Bottle. Jam.
Yeah.
Dust on the Bottle? Who's that? Dustin Miller or something like that? I don't know. Good stuff. This is a jam. Yeah.
I mean, a buddy of mine, he had back surgery, and he said that it was just playing in the back. Country music was playing. He hated country music. It was playing in the background while he was on Percocet and Vicodin. He goes, he became the biggest country music fan ever. Just trying something new. And to go back to Rob's story about his sweatshirt, Rob's been wearing that sweatshirt a hot minute, and I swear this is how much I don't know about the hip hop world. I swear I thought that was an Outkast reference. I swear I did. On my kids, I'm telling you, I did. I was like, Nas. I mean, I can't even say it. Nas does. 90s country was the pinnacle, Ron. I'm with you on that one for sure. 90s was dope. But this bro country thing, I've just come around to. I kind of like it. There's some saviors in there like Chris Stapleton, that are really I would say Zach Bryan, that are really like pulling in some really cool soulful stuff, kind of bringing it back to the storytelling part of the 90s country music scene. So I think that's what it's missed. It's gone from Hey Girl and Lifted Trucks, hopefully back to the I'm telling a story of the whole thing. Luke
Combs can write a song too. That man, man can write.
Right. Again, that's right. Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. And a good hunter too. He's a hunter as well.
I would imagine a lot of country artists have dabbled in the hunting space.
Yeah, I think Luke Bryan was one of them, but there was two acts that were playing one festival, and they both had their fishing equipment in their RVs, and there was a creek behind the stage, and they just went back there and just threw a line in. Both of them got cited for fishing without a license in that state.
Worth it.
Heck yeah. That's I guess that's the new country's rock star kind of vibe.
I went fishing without a license, caught me a bass that I ate.
That's the new walking the line.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm going to Stagecoach, a country music festival at the end of April in Indio, California. So that'll be my first country music festival concert. So that's going to be an immersion. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's we used to call that the Bear Country Jamboree. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's basically what that is. Yeah. And yeah, by the way, Jimmy Allen, my daughter, when she was in FFA in high school, she was out at the FFA convention in Indianapolis, something like that. And he headlined, he put on a whole concert for him. So
yeah, awesome. Oh, by the way, I want to just chime in on this. Greg is asking who Trump's VP nominee is going to be. I'm going to take a stab at it. Kristi Nolan.
I wanted to. I think Kristi Nolan would be a great thought. But I do like Vivek. I think he can. I think he's speaking to a lot of independents. And Rob, you're totally frozen up on the screen right now. You look like Popeye. It was fantastic, dude. You're like, all right.
That's always the best part.
Like, just like Popeye. Internet.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. But yeah. But I think that I think he had Sarah Huckabee in there as well. Sarah Huckabee doesn't move the needle. This is a business, remember. I mean, she just doesn't move the needle. Anyone that's excited about Sarah Huckabee Sanders as a VP nod is not going to vote for anyone but Donald Trump anyway. So she's not going to bring any to the side. I think Kristi Noem, what Rob just said before he froze up, I think is a good idea. But I thought Lady Brewmance pulled the plug when you said that. Because Kristi Noem, Governor Noem is actually she's very much not difficult on the eyes.
And we know Trump likes that aspect. So
that's a good point. That's a good point of the whole thing.
I'm just saying.
That's right into my legal team. Look at my legal team. Hot pieces over here. I tell you, hot pieces. Okay. And quite frankly,
Mike Pence, bad choice. Wasn't good looking. No. Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I think someone I think it's going to be somebody out of right field. I don't think we're going to left field. Sorry. It's going to be somebody that we don't. I don't think it's going to be that easy.
I could see a Tim Scott if Trump wanted to go dude.
I would love that ticket. Love it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And we do. But I mean, Tim Scott's got to be ready for that. I mean, that man will take fire from the left. I mean, the most racist. Whoa. It'd be interesting to see. Yeah. There's a Canadian country singer. Is Corb singing in French? Yeah.
Fair amount of French here in Toronto. Montreal is like all French, but here in Toronto, they represent. They have the signs in English and French.
That's okay. Bye. I mean, it's no difference. I mean, we can't even make fun of it. I mean, half our signs are in English and in Spanish.
It's true that.
It's the truth of the matter. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So NBC's new hire, check. We covered that in spades. I want to talk about this for a moment, Rob, because this just came up and it's just hot off the wire here. So I'm gonna bring this up and hopefully you can react in real time. This is going to be from Representative Massey, who I'm a huge fan of. He says, "What the hell is this evil? A federal red flag center. We did not authorize this, and it was announced, of course, just hours after an omnibus passes." You ready for this? This is from the White House. And if I can get this here we go. I don't even have to put my glasses on. This is from the White House in Merrick Garland. The launch of the National Extreme Risk Protection Order Resource Center. I'll say it again. The Office of the National Extreme Risk Protection Order Resource Center will provide our partners across the country with valuable resources to keep firearms out of the hands of individuals who pose a threat to themselves or others. The establishment of the center is the latest example of the Justice Department's work to use every tool provided by the landmark Bipartisan Safer Communities Act to protect communities from gun violence. We quite literally now have, as if the Justice Department wasn't weaponized and mobilized enough, now you can report to Merrick Garland, your buddy down the street or your ex who might have some guns and you don't like. Away we go. Let it go.
So Mike and I have talked about this at length too, is the strategies that are anti-2A, the strategies that conservatives used for Roe versus Wade. Because this was Roe versus Wade getting overturned was a process that began in the 80s under Reagan. They started gathering and finding friendly state legislatures to push advances in limits on abortion. And they would do it and it would get turned down by a court and they would do it and get turned by a court. But then they started to change the tactics, right? Because you had to figure out the right tactic, the right wiggle room that you have. And some of it was you go from viability at 22 weeks or 24 weeks, whatever the Roe versus Wade standard was, and you drop it to 15 or 6 weeks in some cases. And some of those challenges start winning and eventually ends up in the Supreme Court. This is the long game. And this is, we talked about this, I think, last week too, Mike. The news media loves to distract us with these day-to-day things. The long game here is to try to whittle down the Second Amendment the way that abortion was whittled down, at least federally. That's the goal here. So the Biden administration is playing a role in that. Again, thinking politics, thinking young people, thinking gun violence, appealing to them. While there's other court cases that are going to be worked out. We mentioned Illinois before because Illinois passed a rifle ban. Doesn't seem legal to me, but Illinois wants to challenge it because it's a Democrat-friendly state. So the same strategy that the right used on Roe versus Wade is what the Democrats are going to use on 2A. This, what Mike just said, just being a part of it. Because part of it is to try to influence public opinion that guns are bad, okay? And that we don't want to have them. And here's the challenge that we as gun owners are up against. There's less of us than there used to be 20 years ago. There's more, we own more guns collectively, but less of us as a country own guns. I think only like 30% of the country owns guns, maybe it's 40%. But amongst it, we all own like 9 guns. We're well armed.
Yes, we are.
But the public opinion is swaying, which is why when there's mass shootings, Democrats always come out and talk about guns and getting rid of guns and taking guns out of the hands of dangerous people, because that's where it starts. That's how you shift public opinion. And when you shift public opinion, you get to shift perhaps legislatures. You get to shift perhaps court cases because you get to win more elections. You appoint more judges that will say no to guns. Say, yeah, the founders really didn't mean you should have a rifle. No, that's all they had was rifles. Granted, you can only shoot one time at a thing, but still, all they had, most of what they had was rifles.
Yeah, that's right. Here's the deal. I mean, I just saw Eric Church's, who said this? Eric Church hates guns there by VJ. Actually, Eric Church is a gun owner. Eric Church is probably one of the best guys that I could want to talk to about these types of things. And Rob knows that I know how to play the game on bringing people to the Second Amendment side, is because if he owns a gun and he's buying into this media narrative that gun control is okay, all right, that's someone we need to have a discussion with. We shouldn't dismiss him and say, oh, he hates guns, because it's, he's a firearm owner. So if you're a firearm owner, okay, step one's there. We already have commonality. Okay, so let's chat. And if you're going to say, let's get rid of all guns without getting rid of yours, then you're just a hypocrite. And I'm already winning this argument. I'm already on top of this. And so people like Eric Church, I think, especially if you reach that level of stardom, you're surrounded by people that just do nothing but agree with you. People do not disagree with you. They don't challenge you. So if you have this thought that seems childish, he comes by it honestly because he's told that he's right all the time. Like, he's told he's right. No one challenges him. But I would. I say, Eric, let's sit down. Let's have a drink. I'd love to talk to you about this thing and talk about what you're hearing on the media and what's reality and what's not. And I think that's a good opportunity. So VJ, I wasn't bagging it. It's just the way. It's just a good opportunity to say, you know what? If we have that little ounce of commonality, man, we can have one hell of a discussion.
And that, Mike, you and I did that, right? Because I came from Massachusetts. Not that I was anti-gun. I was just gun ignorant. Never around guns, never saw a gun unless it was on a cop. And I was like, I used to tell the story about, I grew up in this town called Hanson, Massachusetts. And down this weird street, Elm Street, sounds very Friday the 13th.
Fantastic.
Was the Hanson Rod and Gun Club. And occasionally you drive down Elm Street looking for Jason or Freddie or whatever. And you hear these pop, pop, pops. You're like, who goes and shoot guns for fun? And now I own 4. Yes.
Hey, my just doing so.
I have like a couple more that I want to get. I'm gonna have like one in each category. But that's how Mike influenced me. It took years. Like, we'd talk about it, we'd drink some beers, we'd talk about it, and he says, "Why don't you come shooting with me?" Because at that point, I'd only been shooting one time in my life, and I did enjoy the shooting that I did. And this is how crazy Rob Hunter is. So when I was living in New Orleans, I had just gotten a job down there. I get a call from this guy, and he says, "Hey, you never shot a gun before, huh?" "No." "You want to go shoot a gun?" "Yeah, all right, cool." So I get in a strange guy's car, and we drive somewhere close to the Mississippi border, and we go shoot guns. Like you do.
That's how people end up on the back of milk cartons, dude. That is.
My man, Casewell took care of me, man. It was all good.
If somebody asks, because so many of you know us, you know us well. We're not, Rob and I never fake any of this. This is who we are. These are our opinions, and we admit wrongs. We are wrong. We're mostly right, okay? Every time we're mostly right. We're just always batting 1,000.
We were batting pretty much 1,000 during the pandemic, though, to our credit.
We did. But we are who we are. And so if people ask me, because they know Rob's a quirky dude and I'm a quirky redneck. And so when people, I had somebody come in. I was in a sport coat and jeans and really nice boots. And a guy came up to me one time. He goes, "You're the most outdoorsy outdoorsman I've ever known in my life." And I didn't really know how to take that. But if anyone asked me how to like just kind of sum Rob up and like just kind of like the kind of the eccentricities, I tell that story because I can't even fathom somebody calling me up, a random person on the radio, and I'm like, all right, I'll go shoot guns with you. I would everyone would know where I was. I would, for the first time in my life, I'd go on Facebook and I'd mark myself as safe or something. I'd like flag myself so everyone knows that I'm still okay.
Well, especially
and you know me, I'm not a super safe dude, but I didn't know way in hell I'd do that.
Yeah, people get weird about politics. So yeah, I probably should have done it. But I went to Mexico in 2007. We did an undercover trip along the border. And we went into El Sasabe, Mexico. And at one point, we get surrounded by the Mexican military. They start rolling 3 Humvees. And I'm just sitting in the back of the Jeep like, all right, I might die. Cool. I might go to jail. I don't know.
It's been a fun ride.
Yeah, it's been a fun ride. I'm 29 years old or whatever.
Oh, my God.
But it was cool. Like, it's an interesting part of life. I do crazy things. Like Mike knows, like we talked about this too. I would love to cover a war. I'm stupid. But, the fact that I'm married and have a house and I actually like my life keeps me from that. And I couldn't figure out how to get iHeart to pay for me to go to Ukraine.
Yeah, and I'm gonna call a bunch of crap on that because the whole like, oh, I got a wife, I got a house. Dude, you acting like I don't know you.
Yeah.
The second somebody, I don't care if it was even MSNBC, I don't care. I don't care if it was any just crazy out there publication. They tapped Rob on the shoulder and said, you are our new Gaza correspondent. He's like, I'm gone.
See ya.
Out.
Be back in a year. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Don't give me that. Oh, now that I get it. Please.
That's true.
You gone.
I'm a little crazy.
You're gone. And speaking of true, Elon Musk getting into to some hot water again as he's been the savior of the First Amendment in the United States Constitution of late. Like I always say, with you can hate the NRA. You can hate everything that all the decisions they made, Wayne LaPierre, all that stuff. Give me all those reasons why NRA, blah, blah, blah. They're not getting any more of my money, yada, yada, yada. Quite literally, the only organization standing between your Second Amendment rights and the government that wants to take it away. Period. End of story. They're the only ones. That's why I'm a lifetime member. Don't care what Wayne LaPierre did. He's gone. They're rebuilding. But I'm saying they're it. So when it comes to Elon Musk, as it stands now, Elon Musk is the NRA. He is the only one standing in between you and those that want to squash your speech, especially when it comes to political speech. There's 2 stories here. One is Elon Musk. It's been reported that only 30% of the fact checkers, the researchers, only 30% of those that are trying to flag posts actually get through to be investigated. Good. By the way, on Twitter, X, whatever, you have the ability to not follow and follow somebody. You don't have to see anything that you don't want to see. You can be your own fact checker. You can build your own bubble. If you like, that's totally okay. I don't need fact checkers to protect me. I don't. Like that picture of Taylor Swift holding a Trump 1 flag. Obviously, that was doctored. It was a joke. It was a meme. But it had to be, this has been independently fact checked. Who cares? Stop it. Good job, Elon. Keep it up.
Well, and common sense, or you don't. And that's basically it. So that is another reason to not need to rely on somebody else to give you what you think or know is true, right? And I think that's empowering to me to understand that I'm in control. MSNBC doesn't control my thoughts, my emotions. I do. CNN doesn't. So whatever they say, I'm like, whatever. Because I know what their game is. I know that they're desperate to maintain their presence. But also, the real sinister part of this, though, is coming back to this high-level elitism where people have convinced themselves that they're smarter than you and they know how to live better than you, and they want to engineer life so that you fit into this system. That's all part of what is really happening in many different ways. But you're in control of you still, all the time. So until that happens, you still have control of you. And I think that, Mike, to your point, is until they take it away, you still have your right to free speech. Until they take it away, you still have your right to own a firearm. And even then, you still have your right to speak freely. You just have to be real careful about who you speak freely to or who you show your firearm to, because that's all part of it. You have more power than they want you to believe. You are as free in your mind as you want to be. Reuben Carter, the Hurricane. I love this. This is a guy that was wrongly imprisoned for 3 murders, went to jail for 19 years. But he said, you know what? I don't care. Not that he didn't care, he cared. But he says, they cannot take away my mind, and I will not let them take away my mind. He didn't wear his prison uniform. He didn't have, because they allow certain things in prison, where if you're a guy and you're lonely, you can look at some stuff. He was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not partaking in any of this stuff. He did it his own way. That is admirable, and we can all do that. So that's really cool. I do want to go back to something, though, because Daniel has a very enticing offer for you, Mike.
Oh, wait, what? I missed that. I was actually going on VJ's advice, and I looked at Eric Church's wife. You're right, buddy.
Oh, okay.
You're right. The same. I just wanted to see what you look like.
Is that a Andrew Huberman thumbs up or an Andrew Huberman?
No, Andrew Huberman be all about that.
Okay, just check.
Yeah, all about that. 100%.
So here's what Daniel says. First of all, he did ask what the name of my solo show is. My mom answered. Mom, good looking out. It's called Equal Matters. Mike's solo show is called The Go Show. True. And that ties in. He says, come on, Mike, you won't go with me to Southwest Colorado and hunt trophy elk? My family owns 5,000 acres.
Be there in a minute.
See? Just have to ask the right question. And when you ask the right question, you get the right answer.
Wait, you said something about 5,000. Rob, quiet. You said something about 5,000 acres. Wait. Yes, actually, I would go on that. I would pull a straight Rob Hunter, and I would definitely be on that.
I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna bring my microphone to just record things.
Dude, that looked like a 9 when you put that. Okay, all right, now it's a little focus.
I know we're gonna get flagged, bro. This is a microphone, YouTube. This is a microphone, Facebook.
Came up strapped, and thanks.
Like I could bring my gun to Toronto.
Yeah, right. Rhonda, thank you for doing that, helping out with the YouTube algorithm. I appreciate you. You share that out and work it out. Yes. So yes, I would take that in a heartbeat. So, but anyway, I'm a big fan of that. And now we have Instagram. Instagram is now allowing you to turn on and off or select what kind of political thought you would like to hear. This is further dividing the country, the algorithm doing even more nefarious things. This is Mark Zuckerberg at his finest as Meta owns Instagram. This is a tough one. This is a really tough one to see because it's veiled enough to make me look crazy if I say that's him squashing conservative speech, because it just says no. I just want to just my political. I want to see political stuff. I don't. It's just I'm just being the nice guy. I am Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah, just being the nice guy, the nice robot, and it's not. It is what it is, and we know what it is. But it's a solid move because it's not flagrant.
Yeah, because it's his platform. He can do with it what he wants. There's no such thing as free speech. There's no constitution when it comes to Facebook, when it comes to Instagram. That's a dictatorship, and he proves it every time. Yet here we are, still on the platform, right? Because he knows at the end of the day, we're not leaving the platforms. So he gets to do what he wants and manipulate what he wants. Because it's an information system that is not tied into the United States and our freedoms. So those are the rules, and that's obviously how it's going to be. So now what? What do we do about this? Now you can go in on your Instagram and you can turn that off, as basically every conservative commentator that I saw over the last week or so was telling you to do, because I can't miss out on my content because I have 150,000 followers or 100 million followers, and you need to see my stuff. So there's a self-motivation in this too, because if you're making a living on someone else's platform and they change the policy, which they can do at any time, your way of making a living is impacted. And that's why it's incredibly, you have to be careful with putting all your eggs in one basket.
Let's get to President Lopez Obrador.
Mexico.
The president of Mexico. There's a reason I like him. I don't believe in the man. I wouldn't follow the man. I don't trust the man at all. I believe he's in the pocket of the cartels, and I'm not a fan by any stretch, except for one thing. And Uncle Rob can back me on this because he knows that I taught my children to talk trash. So if somebody has their MO is just a good burn, I love it, and I have to respect that. So the president of Mexico sitting down with 60 Minutes over the weekend, and just basically came with it. He said, we don't have the drug consumption that you have here in the United States because we don't have the problem of the disintegration of the family.
Dang.
Basically just took American values and just took a bat to its knees. Just said, oh, you guys preach American values. What's that? Family values? Come on. You guys said the reason why you have a drug problem, there's no families in the United States. Dang. I'm telling you. That's that guy brings this up. So he also said this. Oh my goodness sakes. When he was asked about Speaker Johnson saying that Lopez Obrador will do basically whatever we say on immigration, he responded, "We're not a colony." Oh my Lord. Just coming with it. Look, I mean, I love how he punks Biden. I just dig hearing the guy speak. It's kind of like Bernie Sanders. There's going to be something funny in there every now and again, and I don't believe the guy or back the guy in any way, shape, fashion, or form. But this guy, he also did this. This was a funny last thing I'll bring up. He said, you would not be able to buy inexpensive cars if the border is closed. I can't buy an inexpensive car when the border's wide open. There's no such thing as an inexpensive car anymore.
Look, if you're going to come over,
sailed, bro.
Bring some free cars for us. We'll let you in. We just need cars. That's all. Mike needs a new truck. I mean, his baby's getting a little old.
Oh, almost 200,000.
Dang.
I know. This is okay, though. I'm good. The Falcon's just riding right along.
Oh, yeah.
And Lord knows I drive a lot less than when we were at iHeart, so I'm good.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. $800 a month in gas.
Something to be said for working from home.
Hi, Doc, I'm telling you.
In traffic.
Oh, man. Yeah. Hey, and Ron, thank you for staying over there on Facebook as well. She's doing double duty.
Love it.
She's helping us up in every way. But can we get back to this? I don't know how we totally got sidetracked by this. I brought up Lopez Obrador. The Office of Red Flags. The red flag laws are something. Rob brought up a fantastic point about the long game, and this is part of the long game. But if you remember, there was and it's probably still going on. It probably happened a lot prior to that as well. But at least the press got a hold of it, and they said, "Okay, people are watching this when we start talking about a word, swatting." Remember this? So swatting, if you don't know, is if I say, hey, listen, I found this Rob Hunter guy. He's shady. He's up in Toronto. He's at this hotel. The guy's strapped. The guy's he even held it up to the camera on our live stream. You should see it. It says road, but I know it's a Glock. It says road, but I'm sure it's a Glock. He's got weapons up there. You need to get up there and go get him right now. And they come in like the police scene in Christmas Vacation. They're running through the windows. They're rappelling down from the top of the hotel, and they beat the living tar out of Rob. He didn't do anything. Swatting. That's what red flag. That's the biggest outcry against red flag laws are just that. That's what this truly has in states that have red flag laws, has led to a big pain in the tuchus for law enforcement that have to sift through which one is a real problem and which one is not.
Well, let's imagine this a different way, because the reason why I'm opposed to no-knock warrants is because several people have died that shouldn't have died. A 91-year-old woman in Georgia whose house was raided. She didn't know what was happening. She's 91. She has a little revolver, pulls it out, and the cops blast her. Wrong house. Oops. Guy down in Tucson. He was a Marine, and he saw this commotion outside, didn't know what was happening, so he lined himself up at the door, protecting his family. He's got his wife and his kid, baby. Police kick down the door. They see this guy. He's on his floor. He's got his rifle. So they open fire, and I understand. Wrong house. They shot the guy like 200-something times. So I bring this up in context. So let's imagine that someone gets killed because of swatting. Maybe it's a cop because someone doesn't know what's happening inside their house and they start shooting through the door. Or the cops see someone with a gun because you hear all this commotion outside. You're like, oh no, am I getting invaded? And you pull out your Glock and the cops blast that person, all because someone wanted to pull a prank. That's how dangerous this is. And it's so funny because typically you see people who call in these SWAT pranks are anti-gun, anti-right wing. The Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene has been swatted like a dozen times by people. Like, this is dangerous stuff that you guys are playing with because you think it's funny, but it could lead to something like these no-knock warrant miscues. And one day it may happen, and we'll go, oh, we probably shouldn't have done swatting.
Right, and I understand swatting. I'm just the red, and I understand. Look, and I have an addiction. Rob used to know that one of my guilty pleasures, and I'm still all about this too, is watching the To Catch a Predator, that Chris Hansen thing. I used to love watching that. I still love watching that kind of stuff. I follow all those pages on Instagram, and I'm like, oh yeah, bust that little perv. I love this stuff. I think child trafficking, sex trafficking is the worst, grossest, most ugly thing on the planet. And now, but I'm watching those body cam videos as well. And I see there's so many sides to all these stories that make headlines, and then we see the body cam like, oh, that's actually the real story. Okay, so I understand the swatting part. I get that. Red flag laws where I have a problem with. None of us as responsible firearm owners want somebody when a cop goes and knocks on the door, does a welfare check, and the guy's got the gun to his head and he's crying and sobbing and he doesn't want to live anymore. Guess what? Okay, I want to have your handgun, sir. I want to have your handgun. We're going to get you some help, and we're going to get you your handgun back. But you got to get you some help first. I am not opposed to that. If a judge says, "Look, we got to do some help," I'm all about that. Red flag laws are: I can take all of your firearms. I can strip you of your Second Amendment, God-given constitutional American right before a judge says anything. Before you have been tried, there is no due process. I now cannot protect me and my family or participate in shooting sports, recreation, whatever it is, hunting, doesn't matter, because somebody said that I was a danger to myself. I'm not having that in any way. That should be, whether people think like, oh, well, the majority of no-knock warrants end in this, that, or the other thing. Cool. I'm talking about the end of anything should not be me losing my constitutional God-given right.
But it's happening. And again, that long game is that erosion. That just one little thing here. And if that's okayed by a court, then, the next thing gets okayed by a court. So Mike is right about that in that sense that these are very important issues, complex, but slippery slopes, right? And like we've seen with the no-knock warrants, the accidents. Something like that's going to happen with the red flag law at some point too, where, oh no, it was just a prank and someone didn't like Mike Russell's political opinion. So they called it in, and then whoever came over to his house and took his gun safe, which is hefty.
It is.
Just saying. Good luck with that.
Yeah. But here's the deal though. Okay. So think about this. So if I want to, those that know me probably know it's not a safe idea to break into my house. It's just not, it's just not. So that's probably those that know me know that. So if somebody that did know me wanted to do some harm to me and said, okay, I got an easy way to disarm him, watch. Here, listen, he's got this outdoor show. He keeps talking about guns and gun rights, and he's got this political show where he's just got these ideas, and I think he voted for Trump twice.
I think he mentioned rebellion. I don't know.
Yeah, seriously, I think he's pro Jan 6th, and he said he's proud of his boy, but somebody took that as a proud boy. And so I think you should go take a look at this. They stripped me of my firearms. Now who wants to come try to take a shot at me when I'm unarmed? So they should know I did axe throwing the other day, and I'm really good at it. So just so you know, okay? Just so you know. Don't get any ideas.
I have a video evidence or photographic evidence of you hitting the bullseye at an axe throwing Russell and Hunter competition back in the day.
Well, yeah, I also kept my eyes closed. So I don't really know, but I appreciate that though. That none of that is on there. Yeah.
It's all good.
Oh, hunting traps at VJ. Yeah, we can definitely talk about that. Yes. Nice whitetail. Fantastic. All right, I like to see. They're talking hunting. I'm sorry, just poor Rob, because Rob's like, oh god, they're gonna start talking about it. It's like somebody talking about the Fourth Amendment in the comments. I lose Rob completely, and now I'm like, okay, well, tell me about the whitetail. Talk about this.
Oh, distraction. Fourth Amendment. Yeah. Yes, it's been eroded, which is partially how they're going to be able to take your guns. By the way, just letting you know.
Guess who has his guns taken away now? P. Diddy.
Well,
Sean Combs had, at least in one of his houses, the house was raided. And I mean, SEAL Team 6 style raided today. It's in Southern California. So there's these, God love them. And I'm a Southern California escapee. And I understand that, like, if there's a high-speed chase, there are 9 helicopters, news helicopters, that just track the entire thing. Not one helicopter. Everybody takes the feed and makes commentary. Everyone's got their own damn helicopter up there, including Bob 4 houses down. Helicopter up, got a high-speed chase they want to do. P. Diddy's house is getting raided. There were helicopters from every news organization circling this thing. So there's ample footage of this thing. Diddy might get rung up for a lot of underage activities in his places of residences around the world.
Yeah, you think about surprises. I didn't see that one coming. Although if it was a few months ago, my brother was telling me about some of the things that he heard through whatever about P. Diddy and related to this. Like he's the new Epstein. And I'm like, what? And he showed me the story. I'm like, what? No, I'm like, yeah, they're never going to go after him. Oh, well, at least they're investigating. We'll see where it goes from here. We'll see what kind of connections P. Diddy has to the Clinton administration to make a lot of these things go away.
Rhonda, hold on a second. Rhonda, you know the two of us. That's like on Easter Sunday saying he has risen. We get it. When you come on, of course. Yes, we're with you, Rhonda, 100% on that. We are with you. We are not fans of the Patriot Act by any stretch of the imagination. So yes, you are correct. The Fourth Amendment erosion is, we knew where that started. Yeah, actually not.
By the way, I was outspoken about that in 2001 as a young talk show host, warning of the Fourth Amendment erosion because I'm a nerd.
Mm-hmm. And Dell, by the way, P. Diddy did. He had to have ticked somebody off. He had to have. I mean, he was running. Those circles were big. I don't know which article you read, which article Rob read, but I mean, those circles that they were talking about, the names they're throwing out there, he had to have ticked someone. Normally, you just get away with that in that world. That's just something. It's done. As sick as it is, but this is big to have this. They didn't just go knock on there and just hand a card to his daughter who owns the house, releases on the deed, says here have dad give us a call. Kind of thing. It was there were people being backed out of the house at gunpoint to the head with their hands walking backwards. This is some serious, and they were all focused on this garage. It was something big's going to come out of this, or it's just another distraction because hey, we passed an omnibus.
By the way, that Republicans aren't doing so hot because they need Democrats to get things done. So this is really a Democrat forwarded agenda that Republicans are pushing. It's very defeating. I'll just say that. Where's the leadership? And there's a group of people that, may have a point. The government spending too much money. I get all that. But you don't influence people by kicking and screaming and yelling and hollering. You do the influencing in the cloakroom or wherever you talk to people in the Congress. That's where you influence people, because it doesn't appear to me they're trying to influence people. It appears to me they're trying to raise money for their reelection campaigns, and it appears to be working. So instead of Republicans getting policies in place that will actually help reduce spending, they're actually helping Democrats get more of their agenda passed. It just seems like a bad strategy to me, but what do I know?
Again, we're getting outplayed. Just keep saying that over and over and over and over and again for the last 3 years. We are getting outplayed, period. Democrats are playing hardball, and we're just like, you know what? I just thought, man, they're really good. Look at them keep outplaying us. Wow, yeah, something's definitely got to change. And yes, we knew you knew us, Rhonda. We knew you knew us. How about this? I guess we can wrap it up on kind of a fun story, especially if you're not a Dodgers fan, like I am. Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani is the second coming, apparently, of any baseball player you could possibly imagine in the Hall of Fame. Everyone loves some Shohei. And Dodgers spent $700 million on Shohei Ohtani. 10-year contract, $700 million.
But they're paying him in like 2040 or something. It's so bizarre. Great move.
It's the Bobby Bonilla package. So the Shohei Ohtani thing, by the way, is taking like $2 million a year for 10 years so they can keep bringing in high-paid players. So anyway, so that he's basically sports, any outside of the Dodger sphere, he's public enemy number one. Everybody hates him from Shohei. So the powers that be, started digging around and found out he's got a little problem with betting on sports. Uh-oh. If you know anything about baseball, Pete Rose, one of the greatest hitters in the history of the game, is banned from all of baseball. Dude can't even coach. He's banned from baseball, period, and will not be in the Hall of Fame, period, because he bet on his team to win. Is one of the biggest scandals in baseball. I hate it that Pete Rose is not in the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose has been punked by baseball, and no one has made that wrong right, and it really bothers me. This is probably the same gig, although he's betting on other sports and wins and all this. There's a lot of things. Here's the deal: they're throwing his interpreter under the bus. They're saying he didn't gamble. Shohei didn't gamble. Shohei's interpreter was the gamble. Shohei was just covering his debts.
Yeah.
Does this remind you of another story in baseball?
It reminds me of the Russian intelligence story.
Wait, what?
How they just lie.
Oh, okay. All right. I was going back to baseball during the Barry Bonds, the biggest cheater in baseball history, the Barry Bonds era, where he basically Balco, the Bay Area Laboratory Collaborative. I think I got that right. So Balco was the one making the steroids for him, and his trainer was juicing him up. And his trainer pled the fifth. Not going to say a word. Went to jail for how many years? Years. Didn't say a word. Nope. I didn't juice him up. Not saying a thing. Barry Bonds had to have been taking care of him financially, taking care of his family financially. Like that dude was set up. Same thing here in Shohei's. Shohei's like, look, dude, I got a $700 million contract. Look, I'm going to give you $7 million. You're going to take the fall for this. You're going to go back home to Japan. You're going to be set up. You're going to be living the fat life. It was all you. Wink, wink. It was all you. Let's move on. And trust me, after the Dodgers have had a bad string of luck with high priced players getting punked. So we'll see. See how this goes.
The truth is unknown most of the time. And if you're a Dodger fan, it's easy to believe, oh, yeah, of course. Of course it was his interpreter because that's your guy you're banking on to get you to the World Series this year. So, of course, you'll be like, yeah, good. This is good. And baseball doesn't want their star player kicked out of the league, too.
Exactly. And all that, seriously, the entire Japanese market is dialed in Major League Baseball. Or not Major League Baseball going to do this. I was talking to this kid that works at a shop down the road. He had a California tattoo on his forearm, a Dodgers written all the way down. And I'm like, so I'm okay. You're my people. Come here. And so I was chatting it up with him, and he was talking about that. Yeah, it looks really bad. It looks really bad. Yeah, he probably bet on baseball too. And he just started kind of slumping down. He goes, but he's on my team. He didn't do it.
Just like if you were a San Francisco Giants fan, you didn't care.
Just hit the weights really hard. You can't rip a dedicated man like that. Okay, and Rob knows how much I hate Barry Bonds, and I will say this. Hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in sport, period. Nothing harder to do in sports. You have 4/100ths of a second to decide whether or not to swing at a pitch. Absolutely absurd how amazing that is. So the dude did have mad skills.
Mm-hmm.
He just didn't have the mad power.
He enhanced his power.
Have you seen his rookie card? I'm going to find it for you in a second. Yeah. He looks like Jack Skellington. He looks like Jack Skellington.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, come on, dude. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. All right, let's get. Did we miss anyone along the way during the show? And yes, by the way, again, it probably ticked a Clinton off. I'm getting to all these hunting posts. I will get to these, and you guys can check it out. I'll actually bring these over to the Go Show tomorrow at 11. So we'll do that as well. And I'm sure there's somebody who's got some good ideas for Rob for the equal matters going on as well. So Rob, we hope you. We wish you safe entry into the United States. If they won't let you back in, just let us know. We'll get you to the southern border, and we'll just meet you as you can just walk on through. Okay,
I think I can just sneak across the northern border now too. But yeah, southern border
is right.
Option. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right, everybody. Here's what we're going to do. If you could do us a favor, share this out. Push this out. It would much appreciated on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel and follow along as we continue to kick you some content. And on Friday, remember the Brewmance, the Nooner. So we'll do this at noon. What do you think? Hopefully Rob's back in the United States by then. Rob?
We'll see.
Yeah. Okay, we'll see. All right, so you're going to have to tune in. You will not know until Friday at noon if Rob made it back to the United States. Have a great evening, everyone. Thanks for playing along. See you then.